welcome back to my channel Lady T. Today I'm back with another book review. As you can probably tell, the audio isn't that great, but that's because my microphone, the Blue Yeti, died and I am going to get a new one, but it is going to take some time before it gets here. And also I have been away for a little while, mainly because I have been very busy with school, and because my microphone died I didn't really feel like making videos. But I'm back at it because I'm now on a break, and I'm going to try and create a schedule for myself that is going to work for the long run. But today I'm back with another book, and I'm really excited to review this book together with you. So it is finally here. I had to wait a little before it was dropped off at my place, but the new Skulduggery Pleasant Book 12, Bedlam, finally arrived. And I was so excited to hear that this book was coming out, and I was so excited when all the announcements came on Twitter. I was really looking forward to this book because I absolutely love this series. I started reading it somewhere when I was a lot younger, and back then I wasn't really able to read English properly, and I didn't really know what was going on, but I never forgot about it. And a couple of years ago I stumbled upon the first book again somewhere in a secondhand store, and I bought it and I fell in love with the series all over again. And now I get to be excited with the whole fandom each and every year. So Bedlam, finally here. I have to say this review isn't going to be spoiler free, so if you haven't read it yet, or if you haven't finished the book yet, don't watch this video just yet, I think, because I am going to be talking about some events in the book. But anyway, overall, I really like this book. It isn't one of my favorites, and that mainly has to do with I felt like the characters Valkyrie and Skulduggery and all the other characters were never in real danger. And I know it's going to sound a little strange because they were fighting bad guys again and they were in trouble again, but I just kind of felt like there was nothing major happening in this book. Like, the story told in Bedlam is just kind of in between two huge things happening, and this was just stories that happened in between those big things needed to be told, so that's why Bedlam's here. And I just feel like the last book we got, which was Midnight, just had some new revelations, and it had some great epic scenes, and I felt anxious again for Valkyrie and whether she was going to survive or not. And although we had some big revelations in this book as well, and some new things that turned out about Valkyrie, about her not being the ascendant of one of the ancient ones, but of the faceless ones actually, and her having this moment with her sister Alice that she actually has to fight her arch enemy, which is probably going to be Valkyrie, which is going to be so incredibly epic. But even though we had that reveal, I just felt like nothing major happened and nothing really was going to destroy them. We all knew that Valkyrie was going to survive, and I'm really interested to find out in the future book what is going on with that little music box, because there's probably going to be something very shady going on with that. So I'm really excited. And don't get me wrong, just because I didn't really feel like something major was happening in this book, I did really like it. It has the same great writing style that Landy has had throughout these years and throughout the books. He really managed to capture me again, but I just didn't feel as emotionally into it as I have had with previous books, mainly due to the thing that I just explained. But what I also found very fun was that as I was reading this, I kept thinking back to the first couple of books, like where everything was just, it was more relaxing, Valkyrie was having a lot of fun, and I was younger back then too, she was younger, and it kind of just felt like she was able to go on these crazy adventures, everything was new, and there were no consequences, or at least that's what the books represented for me back then. They were more light-hearted, and even though the world's stake was still at stake, it was just like, we know that they're going to win at the end. And even though they still do now, everything has turned more serious. The characters have developed like a big deal. And that is also one of the things I really like about his books that Landy does really well. The characters feel real. They go through struggles, and instead of just having them cry about it one night and move on, they actually carry those scars with them, and it infects the choices that they make today in the books that we're reading right now. And some writers don't actually get that when a character goes through some emotional struggle, that it's going to stay with them and it changes the person who they are. And Landy does that really well, because Valkyrie is a broken person. She has gone through an awful lot, just as Skulduggery has in the past. We can see her transform into an adult who learns that her actions have consequences, but also a young woman who's still discovering herself, and she carries all that emotional baggage with her. And that's why I can relate to her so much, because she feels like a real character, just like the other characters in the entire book. And I have to also say about talking about characters, Omen Darkly. In the last book, I wasn't really a big fan of him. I just kind of felt like he was there to... I thought it was interesting that he wasn't the chosen one, and that we focused on him even though he wasn't the chosen one. But I just felt like he was kind of there to just show another perspective, which was okay. But in this book, I finally felt like he was really stepping up and just taking a lead role like he was supposed to do, I think, in the last book. And I just really liked how his character kind of blossomed, and that he was finding these strengths about himself. And I know that was very interesting to me, and I started to like Omen Darkly an awful lot throughout this whole book. I really was looking through towards the chapters which he was starring in. And what was really fun is when he got abducted, when he was asked to forge those papers for the first wave people. It never crossed my mind as well that it could be a trap. I thought, well, maybe those people from First Wave have come to their senses, and an awesome thing from Omen to actually help them out, even though they have bullied him all his school life. And when he was having that conversation with, I forgot her name, but with that girl from First Wave, I was just like, okay, this actually may be a trap, just as she suggests. But with Omen, I also went in blind and I didn't expect it. And that was a lot of fun to me, to actually look through Omen's eyes and look at the world in an innocent kind of way, even though I've had the experience of the other 11 books, looking through Valkyrie's eyes and knowing that practically everyone in that world is there to backstab you. So it was a lot of fun and a unique way to look at everything that was happening. And I don't know, I just absolutely loved this book. It made me look back. I loved the character development. And like I said, even though I felt like this was just a kind of in-between book with nothing really dangerous happening, or I don't really know how to better explain myself than I've already have. But yeah, I could see the big revelation at the end coming from a mile away. That was something that was inevitable, and especially towards the end of the book, it was already clear before Dusk actually told Valkyrie the big secret about her blood. I loved it when he brought it back, because this happened, the tasting of Valkyrie's blood from Dusk happened like a million books ago. And it is fun that it is brought up again, that it isn't a loose end that is just going to stay up in the air forever, but now we know what Dusk tasted back then. So I really loved it, and I highly recommend that you read this book. Although I have to say that if you haven't read past books, then I don't think it's going to be as fun, because you won't understand. So just read the whole series. It's only 12 books right now, so if you start now, you can catch up before the next book will arrive, which I hope will be next year or sometime very soon. Yeah, this is what I thought of the book. I absolutely loved it. It was good, it was okay, I liked it, and I can't wait for the next one. Let me know what you thought if you have read it, of this book, in the comments down below. and I hope that I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!